House Republicans have effectively paralyzed the legislative branch with their dysfunction, incompetence, and stupidity at a time when the American people can least afford the paralysis of the legislative branch. We have two foreign crises which require legislative action, and we're once again heading towards a government shutdown which requires legislative action to divert. And now we're 17 days without a speaker, and Republicans have decided to go home for the weekend. All of this, the failure to address all of this, is exclusively at the feet of Republicans. And so they desperately need to divert our attention. And so what they're doing is wheeling out their favorite distraction, which is the conspiracy theory about President Biden. But before we unpack all that, if you haven't yet, please hit that like, subscribe, and the alert bell. Okay, brace yourselves, folks. I'm sure some of you thought we were done with this because we had bigger fish to fry, but no. Since the Republican Party has consistently demonstrated that they have no talent for or interest in responsibly governing, they're turning once again to their favorite conspiracy theory about Joe Biden and the Biden crime family and Hunter Biden and Hunter Biden's laptop. It's just insane. And so we're going to play this clip from James Comer, the Kentucky chairman of the House Oversight Committee, the guy who's basically leading the impeachment effort against President Biden. He thinks he's got us now. This time, for real, guys, this time we really do have the evidence. So let's watch this video and we will unpack it together.
This summer, Joe Biden said, "Where's the money?" Well, we found some. We're still digging into evidence subpoenaed from bank accounts belonging to Hunter Biden, the son of President Joe Biden, and James and Sarah Biden, the brother and sister-in-law of the president. A document that we're releasing today raises new questions about how President Biden personally benefited from his family's shady influence peddling of his last name and their access to him. Bank records obtained by the House Committee on Oversight have revealed a $200,000 direct payment from James and Sarah Biden to Joe Biden in the form of a personal check. Here's some important context about this check we've obtained in our investigation. In 2018, James Biden received $600,000 in loans from AmeriCorps, a financially distressed and failing rural hospital operator. According to bankruptcy court documents, James Biden received these loans, quote, based upon representations that his last name, Biden, could open doors and that he could obtain a large investment from the Middle East based on his political connections, end quote. On March 1st, 2018, AmeriCorps wired a $200,000 loan into James and Sarah Biden's personal bank account, not their business bank account. And then on the very same day, James Biden wrote a $200,000 check from this same personal bank account to Joe Biden. James Biden wrote this check to Joe Biden as a, quote, loan repayment. AmeriCorps, a distressed company, loaned money to James Biden, who then sent it to Joe Biden. Even if this was a personal loan repayment, it's still troubling that Joe Biden's ability to be paid back by his brother depended on the success of his family's shady financial dealings. Some immediate questions President Biden must answer for the American people. Does he have documents proving he lent such a large sum of money to his brother? And what were the terms of such financial agreement? Did he have similar financial agreements with other family members that led them to make similar large payments to him? And did he know that the same day James Biden wrote him a check for $200,000, James Biden had just received a loan for the exact same amount from business dealings with a company that was in financial distress and failing? The House Oversight Committee will soon announce our next investigative actions and continue to follow the money. The bank records don't end here. There's more to come.
That's hilarious. So they've been looking since January. And if you can't tell by now this is a fishing expedition, I don't know what will. So a couple of things. Number one, James Biden was the recipient of the funds from AmeriCorps. So even if we take everything at face value, there's no direct connection between AmeriCorps and Joe Biden. It would be different, perhaps, if AmeriCorps sent a check to Joe Biden, number one. Number two, the idea that James Biden, the allegation that James Biden, who is not Joe Biden, may have, gotten this loan from AmeriCorps for $600,000 because he suggested that his last name could open doors. Well, again, James Biden is morally culpable for that, not Joe Biden. We don't have some sort of transitive moral law which dictates that Joe Biden is morally culpable for the independent actions of his adult brother, number one. But number two, if you look at the bankruptcy filings, this is addressed. and with regards to, again, the claim that James Biden could use his last name to open doors for AmeriCorps. Instead of complying with his fiduciary responsibilities, defendant helped debtors procure an ill-advised bridge loan from a hedge fund that had deleterious impact on the financial affairs of the debtor and ultimately forced debtors into bankruptcy as he never delivered the promised large investment from the Middle East. Okay? Meaning, if James Biden promised that his last name could procure loans from the Middle East, he never delivered. And once again, I will reiterate, James Biden is not Joe Biden, famously. Also, the check was written between the two parties, AmeriCorps to James Biden, and then James Biden's check to Joe Biden in 2018. Guess who wasn't president in 2018? Guess who wasn't vice president in 2018? Joe Biden. So what could Joe Biden have done as a private citizen to corruptly wield the powers of government for his own family's benefit when he wasn't in government? He was neither the vice president nor the president. He was a private citizen. So that's a major pitfall as well. Now, Jamie Raskin, the Democratic ranking member, issued a statement in response to this, what James Comer unveiled. As everyone knows, committee Republicans have uncovered no evidence of wrongdoing by President Biden, and last month, even their handpicked witnesses at their first impeachment hearing testified that they saw no evidence of a crime, much less an impeachable one. Nothing has changed. The more than 1,400 pages of additional bank records just show that these witnesses and the thousands of prior pages of records have already established that the president was not involved in and did not profit from his family members' business ventures. These records actually show that President Biden was the one who stepped in to help family members when they needed support, including by providing short-term loans to his brother. That's why the check to James Biden, to Joe Biden, said loan repayment, because Joe Biden, now the president, but Joe Biden at the time in 2018 when he was a private citizen, had offered his brother a short-term loan. Nothing criminal or even inappropriate about that. Committee Republicans' most recent subpoenas are comically abusive in their breadth and scope, blindly seeking a decade's worth of private citizens' financial records. While not a single transaction shows any wrongdoing by the president, they do reveal personal transactions of the president's family members that have no relevance to any legitimate congressional inquiry, including payments for things like groceries, vet visits, and plumbing repairs, and include multiple college savings account and one youth bank account for the grandchildren of the president. It's time to end this embarrassing and privacy-violating goose chase. Furthermore, in additional comments to the messenger, Raskin added that Comer has dishonestly tried to hide the initial loan from President Biden, Joe Biden, to his brother, despite Comer and the Oversight Committee having received that document. So according to Jamie Raskin, the ranking member, this question answers itself because James Comer has the document proving that then private citizen Joe Biden lent his brother, James Biden, $200,000 in a short-term loan. So these rhetorical questions, what's the loan that he's paying back? What's going on here? James Comer actually has evidence that answers the question. James Biden was in financial distress. Joe Biden offered him a $200,000 short-term loan, again, private citizen to private citizen, brother to brother. And then, later on in 2018, James Biden paid it back. Now, in addition to that, Paul Fishman, counsel for James Biden, told the messenger in a statement, the Oversight Committee's The Oversight Committee's description of the $200,000 check from Jim Biden to his brother is highly selective and misleading. The committee has the bank documents that show both the loan Jim Biden received from his brother, now President Biden, in January 2018, when President Biden was not president nor vice president, and the repayment by check 6 weeks later. At no time did James, aka Jim, involve his brother, aka Joe Biden, in any of his business relationships. Okay? This is very clear. Furthermore, Ian Sams, who's one of the White House spokespeople, James Comer is pretty desperate to try to distract from Republican speaker mess. It's a loan repayment from when President Biden loaned his brother money when he was out of office in 2018, no less. It's right there on the check. Matt Gaetz was right. More failure theater. This is a copy of the check. Ian Sams has graciously circled it for us. Folks, the Republican Party is desperate. The Republican leadership is dishonest, venal, unprincipled, and stupid, morally, intellectually inferior in all ways that matter to the Democratic Party. I say again, the very worst Democratic politician, I think you could easily make the argument, is morally superior to the very best Republican politician in this Congress. That's how far gone this party is. It's despicable. So this is the kind of work, by the way, that they're so eager, they say, to get back to. We want to do the work for the American people. That's the kind of work that they're talking about. They don't want to address the government shutdown, which is why they failed to do so when they had Kevin McCarthy. They don't want to address, again, the foreign crises in Ukraine and Israel. They don't want to address anthropogenic climate change. They don't want to address anything. All they want to do is wage BS culture war nonsense, produce absolutely no material benefit for their own constituents, and just use what little power they have to try to hurt the president politically ahead of 2024 so they can hopefully allow their federally indicted cult leader back into the White House, irrespective, absolutely with no regard for what he will do to the institutions of American democracy, just for short-term gain. That's how desperate these people are. They should be mocked, belittled, reviled every chance they get, treated with no ounce of charity whatsoever. And I want you to know this. Easily, effortlessly debunked. They screwed up again, and don't let it distract you. The failures that they've unleashed on the American people with respect to, again, failing to provide for a speakership, addressing the government shutdown, all these things of infinitely greater importance. And the only reason we're talking about it is because we can have a lot of fun effortlessly debunking their claims and making fun of them in real time. Let me know what you think in the comments.